The Regressed Mercenary has a plan. Chapter 1. He know that name very well. This is unstoppable. A swordmaster stuck in his room, a man out of his mind. Count Perdium's eldest son, Ghislaine Perdium, was useless. Ghislaine had a man who said he was the strongest knight in the north. But it was defeated to the garbage human being. Pretty warm and cozy, right? He put a lot of money into making that trap. Is this good? And angrily he called it garbage. A trap? And Ghislaine knew his plan beforehand. Not just that, it also knows there are many spies and helped him to reinforcements. He knew it all from the beginning. How did that happen? He always had a hidden ace card. He couldn't believe that Ghislaine had done this because they thought it was useless men and suddenly kicked him in the face. He tried the raid as many times as it wants. Ghislaine says he will win the war next time, and every time, because he knows all the plans. A year ago in the kingdom of Luthania near the Perdium estate, he woke up and while he was looked at his hand, he realized that he was still alive, cutting off his head. He couldn't believe it because he remembered the fight that ended in his defeat. When their fight is over, Ghislaine Perdium, the mercenary king and one of the continent's 7 strongest men, the war is over. One of the continent's top 7 noble knight Idun, what was the last thing said? And it has nothing more to say because it did not fulfill the revenge. Meanwhile, he wants to kill her, but it can't do anything because it can't fight anymore. It couldn't believe that this was the eldest son of the fallen Perdium household, though. He said after the death of his sister, he left their family. It's from another kingdom, but he knows that. He worked on tracking Ghislaine for a long time, so he knows it. Because they worked in the Delphine household to make his family bring down. Ghislaine wants to know if there is anyone else behind this besides Duke Delphine. He didn't want to tell Ghislaine about this because he was going to die. And Ghislaine shouted angrily he will never forgive him. But it quickly ended it. He decapitated those moments that he remembered. He couldn't believe that her head was still attached to him. He looked at his face in the water. He saw that his face was younger. It thinks he was captured and used as a lab rat for magicians or something. And suddenly a young master called outside. Ricardo the Perdium soldier entered because he knew Ghislaine was awake. Ghislaine took the sword and aimed it at his neck. And he wants him to answer his questions if he still wants to live. He was surprised by Ghislaine's attack on him. Ghislaine could not understand what was happening. He pushed him, it said that he threw a tantrum and fell asleep due to self-exhaustion. He was shocked by what he found out. It's like forgetting after taking a nap. It throws a tantrum about how it will command the group to attack the orcs. The orcs, tantrum annoyed, said Ghislaine. Ricardo asked Ghislaine to get stuff because many people were waiting here so that they can return to the Perdium state. Ghislaine was shocked to learn that they were going back to the Perdium state. He confirmed this to Ricardo because when Ghislaine found out it had already fallen, and he saw the Perdium standing well, he was surprised because he saw that it was ashes. Ricardo asks him if he had a terrible nightmare or something. Thus it was said that his own household had fallen, and Ghislaine might get kicked out if anyone hears this. He squeezed his cheek because he thought he was dreaming. It hurt and he thought he wasn't dreaming. A younger face, the estate in its original state. He thinks he has traveled back in the past. His childhood past was brought back to the household. The immaturity born from feeling inferior led to trouble. And as time passed, more people from the household avoided him. He can no longer handle the criticisms and run away from the home. A few years later, he became a mercenary. He survived many battles, his skill was built up, and he made a name popular. He returned to the country of Perdium to make up for his mistakes. But when he returned to the household, it was already ashes. Lost everything, but it's still all here. And all the people close to him are here. He couldn't believe it, and it wants to sing a song of joy. But it's too early for him to be rejoice. And he can't forget that day, and that day many people died because of the attack of the orcs. And in his previous life, he followed the Orc raid squad in an attempt to make a name for him. At that time, the report had said there were only 3 orcs. He thought that would be easy enough for someone like him, who had no experience commanding a squad. But when he got there, there were more than 20 orcs. Almost all of them died from his stubbornness, and it wanted to lead the squad. And they think they can defeat the orcs because they don't have a strategy. The problem is if they trust him because they all think he's a useless bastard. And Ghislaine was shocked when the archer tower suddenly fell. The guards saw that they were being attacked by orcs. The guards immediately blocked it and were ready to fight. And Ghislaine is thinking if these also arrived that quickly in his past. Due to the attack of the orcs, the people are gradually falling down. Someone shouted to get into formation. Don't panic, the raid squad commander Scoven ordered the guard to defense formation. The raid commander is ready to fight the orcs, but they let our guard ambush even though they weren't prepared at all, and it's more than what was reported. And they all seem to die. Ghislaine warns the commander. The orcs are behind it and they are trying to attack him. And when he looks behind him, the orcs are there. While he was looking at the orcs, Ghislaine grabbed him by the shoulder to throw him. And when he threw it, Ghislaine quickly attacked the orcs. The raid commander is shocked by Ghislaine's actions. The young master, he fought against the orcs. The orcs hit in the hand by Ghislaine's sword. His hand was cut off. The commander and the guards were shocked by the result of Ghislaine's attack. The orcs stripped of their hand fall in front of Ghislaine. And it seems that he can't use the mana, and he wished it would go back to the past earlier. He approached the commander and called him this young master. And this reached for her hand. The commander apologized. And Ghislaine called it commander.